The ongoing feud over who should lead Market Basket is having a trickle-down effect. As employee protests stretch into their second week, once loyal customers are taking a stand by taking their business to Market Basket's competitors. Even customers not interested in boycotting are being forced to shop elsewhere because store shelves are all but bare. And some supermarkets are struggling to keep up with the new demand. Hannaford, which competes with Market Basket in New Hampshire, has called in out-of-state workers to help cover the busiest shifts. So how long can this standoff continue? Shirley Leung is a business columnist for the Boston Globe, and John Chesto is the managing editor of the Boston Business Journal. Welcome to you both. So I just want to get a sense of where this all stands now. We know that the board is in the process of meeting. This is between Arthur S. and Arthur T. Arthur T. is, of course, the person that all the employees of the stores want back in business. Is it at all likely that he'll be reinstated? I mean, is that the way that they have to go when they're losing up to 70% of their business at this point?
Well, if you asked me a week ago, I would say no way can RDT ever come back. I mean, Arthur S. finally has control of this company, and he's never going to let his rival cousins come back. But what we've seen after a week is that the employees are behind RDT, Good Arthur, as they call him, and the employees are refusing to stock the shelves, and customers are boycotting in solidarity. So I think the company has to bring back Arthur T. in some fashion.
John, the company is up for sale to some degree. I mean, how does it stand when they are losing so much revenue day by day, and how much longer can they continue to be in this state when they're trying to be a viable company for sale?
That's a great question. I mean, there have been interested parties, but the value of the company continues to deteriorate. You have protests and rallies and distribution being interrupted. You have lettuce and chicken counters being empty. Shoppers are not going because they want to support the employees or because they just can't find the food they need. That's going to hurt the value. So that, I think, is going to help expedite the sale process. I think the Arthur S. side of the family, which controls the board of directors at Market Basket, I think they know they have to act quickly or else the value they continue to lose value. This is where all their money is. But it's got something you have to take some time with. I mean, I would be very surprised to see a quick something happen overnight, but you really never know. I mean, this situation is unprecedented.
Now, I mean, is there any solution other than, we were just talking about this, of course, but Arthur T. coming back, is that the only solution, or will the company, can they rebrand themselves around him being the Great White Knight?
Well, what could happen is that Arthur S., they could all decide to sell to a third party, and then, the third party, like the company that owns Stop and Shop, or they could sell to another big family like Wegmans. They could sell to someone else, a quote-unquote neutral party, and then maybe the new owner could bring back Arthur S. in some fashion to help kind of calm the troops. So, I mean, that's one scenario. One is if Arthur S. does sell to Arthur T., though they've been fighting for decades. So it's a blood feud by now, right? And so I don't know if he will,
Who is driving? Is there a sense of who's driving the employees at this point? I mean, I'm wondering if it is a third party. How are the employees who are protesting, and even the customers to some degree, how are they going to be appeased by anybody but Arthur T., who's largely responsible for all the great benefits that have kept people working at Market Basket for so long? Who's driving them to make their decisions about how long they'll carry out these boycotts and strikes?
Well, the employees would say it's a homegrown rally. It's a homegrown movement. There is some speculation that the Arthur T. side of the family is somehow working behind the scenes. The Arthur T. side says no, that's not the case. I do think it'll be very hard, and any buyer would have a hard time keeping these employees if they don't have Arthur T. in charge. I mean, it's complete bedlam right now without Arthur T. I don't know how a Kroger or the parent company Stop and Shop comes in, say it's one of those that is interested, if they're looking at this, if they say, we really need to have Arthur T. here in some capacity, I don't know how they do it without him.
I mean, the images that we just showed and the impressions that we're getting are you're walking through vacant stores, almost like this apocalyptic time. So how long could they possibly hold out? without having to close eventually? I
mean, I think they're losing tens of millions of dollars, already. They don't have a lot of time. I think they probably want, ideally, maybe kind of wrap this up in a week. But again, I feel like Arthur T, Arthur S, they've been fighting. I mean, this is truly like a Greek tragedy, right, as unfolding before our eyes. And sometimes it might not be about money, and it might not be about greed. Maybe it's spite, it's revenge, you know, and that may make it drag longer.
Yeah, that's the problem, I think, is it's not, if it was just a clear-cut business decision, it would be much easier to wrap this up. But this is a personal thing that goes back decades. So to have it tie up in a nice, neat bow, while I think everyone would benefit from that, I'd still be a little surprised.
Well, other supermarkets apparently, and even farm stands, we're now learning, are benefiting from this. So John Chester, Shirley Leong, thank you so much for joining us.